Exactly. Oh, there it goes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final Social Media Power Chat of 2013. I'm your host, Mia Voss of the Mia Connect, and I have so much firepower on my panel that I think that things are going to blow up. The interwebs are just going to implode with all the action and fun going on here, guys. So real quick before we get started, I want to thank my show sponsors, Edge Ad Exchange and the Craft Star. Think big, shop small with those guys. So thank you as my final sponsors of the year. And I'm going to jump into it. I got to get my sound effects up because you guys know I love this. I have the most amazing set of peeps here. I'm going to start with my girl, Eileen Smith. Welcome to the show.
Hi, everybody.
Basic blog tips, Eileen Speaks. She's got it all going on. I can't even go through all the list, but we're going to get into it. Mr. Dustin Stout, what's up, brother?
How are you?
Who literally just came skating in from a grocery run. I love that about you. You took care of business before you got on the show. I'm going to go to Craig Chamberlain. What's up?
What's up?
Where are you out of, by the way, Craig? You're
Where am I
out of the
at?
Midwest. Yeah, you're in the Midwest, right?
Northern Indiana, which we actually have a wonderful day of 20 degrees today.
I think we might have you beat here in Denver. We got snow last night. It's freezing. Eileen, you're out of Philly. Is that correct?
That's right.
And Dustin, are you in California?
Yeah, I'm sweating it out in Southern California. It's about 70 degrees right now.
Dude, these are uptown problems.
Poor guy.
Exactly. And last but not least, coming the farthest, we have David Amerland.
Hi guys.
And you're in the UK, is that correct?
Normally, yeah, but I'm actually in Greece at the moment. I've got a summer house there. And,
speaking of uptown problems, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the temperature was 31 degrees centigrade this morning.
What's that in the U.S. world?
Probably about high 90s, I think.
Oh, okay. He's got SB, you guys.
Yep.
Right?
And David, you have how many people staying at your house right now for the holidays?
14. 14, would you believe? Yeah.
Oh,
I told them his holidays are like a clown car.
Yeah. We all have to squeeze in.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, speaking of which, okay, we're going to get into some comments here. We have Charlotte Pierce. David Angler needs his lower third. No, wait a minute. I guess he doesn't. I love that. And Mia Voss needs her lower third, too. Yeah, that one needs no introduction whatsoever. Oh, Randy Hilarski says, Eileen Smith, woohoo! He is one of our favorites.
Randy.
Yes,
Hey, Randy.
brother Randy. And Sister Annabelle, exactly. He says it's time to
Hey,
get
Annabelle.
Yep, shit, love her. Time to get your learn on. Joan Korber, she's the gal that was commenting that said about speaking Chinese. She wasn't sure what blog posts are, but she's here, so I appreciate that Joan is here today. So, yes, and then do you guys have anybody you want to shout out today that's one of your favorites that's in the audience, you think?
Yeah, the whole of G+.
The entire audience.
Pretty much all of my circlers who think I have something worth saying.
I think my buddy Wade Harmon may be in the house.
I think he is probably in his house, yes.
Yeah, and I also definitely want to shout out to my daughter, Nikki Purvey. Hey, baby.
Girlfriend actually pinged me on Twitter yesterday, so hey to you again, girl, because she is so sweet. So she did reach out to us too. So yeah, I'm trying to think else. Christine, I'm sure DeGraff, my partner in crime, is probably out there too. So hey to her. I think David Oldenburg is out there too. But I think you guys may be right. I think it's everybody in the Google Plus world. So
that's right.
Y'all better serve it up.
Well, what's funny is my family, I don't let them on Google Plus. Shh.
Oh.
You got something to hide.
I'm hiding from them right now.
Right. And you said you're hiding in the basement too. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Hey, here's another one of our favorites too. Brethren Stan and Hernandez. Woohoo! Great to see all four of my favorites, especially that Eileen Smith. I love that.
I love you.
He is awesome. So, all right, guys, listen. Let's jump into it. I want to just let's recap 2013. And one of my questions was, what's the biggest change for each of you in the last year? And you all jump in. I want to hear from each one of you.
Oh wow! Where can you start from? For a start, G+ took off in terms of we never expected to see the connectivity we actually do, and the conversation really took off in a way that in 2012 it hadn't, and everything changed because the moment we start talking and exchanging ideas, then it becomes a platform for new ideas and new thoughts, and everything accelerates, and it continues to accelerate. So it's been a really roller coaster ride. It's just been incredible.
It's a jetpack ride for sure. I
Yeah,
feel like we just hit
absolutely.
that booster button. What time of year was that for you, do you think, when you really started to notice the change, David?
Well, as soon as we got past New Year 2012, I just sort of finished. I was finishing the book on semantic search. I was buried in research and writing, and I was sort of sharing a lot of my writing with the G+ audience, and they helped shape what I wrote in terms of accessibility. I'm more academic in my thinking and tend to be sort of very complicated, and the book isn't like this. It's very simple and accessible.
That's my speed, by the way. Yeah, I like that.
Well, yeah, and it is like that. You know, I have to thank G+ for that, because everybody sort of contributed in terms of ideas, suggestions, their points of view, and that shaped the way I wrote, and it has changed the way I write and the way I think in many ways. So that's been pretty cool.
Okay, who's going to be able to top that one? Come on.
Actually, it's been a lot different for me, because
I love it.
I actually was one of the early adopters of Google+, so I was always here. In fact, I'm still crushed that Google Buzz died, okay? So I made a lot of my connections with a lot of the influencers through Google Buzz. So I was kind of already connected when Google+, so I never missed a beat as far as that concerned. But what did happen for me was, speaking of Google, all the updates, and that had a serious impact on my blog as far as traffic is concerned. And so I had to pick up the slack with my already existing network of people. So,
sure.
And that's working out great for me. So it's like, okay, Google, you want to do some slapping around with the algorithms? It's okay, because I got people.
What's the one thing that was the biggest change for you, good, bad, or ugly, on the updates?
Well,
for Google,
actually, just in terms of social, the biggest change for me is Pinterest. Getting tons and tons of traffic that's really targeted from Pinterest, instead of a lot of, I don't want to say useless traffic from Google, but traffic that wasn't really so much targeted. Like, people were searching for stuff that, you know, my blog may have been showing up for, but that's not really what the post was about.
Right.
So people, you know, were bouncing, whereas when you're getting traffic from a place like Pinterest, it's real targeted. You know, people kind of know what it is they're in for once they click through.
Pinterest has moved out of the sewing circle in the recipe world, hasn't it?
It sure has.
How about you, Craig Chamberlain? What was the biggest change for you in 2013, besides just being awesome like everybody else?
Mine is similar to David and Eileen's. It's mostly the migration of Google+. I used Google+ at the beginning of the year to start a talk show, but Hangouts were horrible at the time. They only broadcasted in 360p, I believe.
Right.
And it was a nightmare just getting the broadcast to function properly. And so the transition from that tool system to what it is now is just absolutely astounding. It's a huge testament to what Google's going to be pushing in the future. Hangouts are going to be a big player in social media, and it's here to stay. They wouldn't have invested that much resources and that much time into it if they didn't think so. But when I restarted my show a couple months ago, it's my morning show. I do it every morning because it's the only time I can with the kids. It was just phenomenal what I was able to do with such a small budget and a few ideas. And that's kind of what I think is a really awesome thing when it comes to Google+. It makes you able to connect with real people in a non-drive-by sense, which has always been, I've been in social media since it started. It's always been a problem with social media, is really connecting with people in a different way. And Hangouts is one of those few tools that actually has come to the forefront that makes that possible. Like me sitting here with you, and meeting David and just talking to all these people. It's awesome to be able to meet people and communicate with them on a completely different level than you ever did before.
I wish we could have a map dot across especially for today. You know, just right up there at the top. It's got dots of all of us all over the place and what our coverage was, and how easy it is, right? I mean, look at that, just to pull people in. And I agree with you, though. I'd say, yeah, in the last year since I started my show, it's pretty stellar, and a lot of changes that have made it a lot easier to produce them in quality. I'm not saying everybody does, but it gives you an opportunity, right?
yeah, and as much as everybody hated the YouTube comment merger, which I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about later.
Please do. That was a crap show.
It's still in its infant stages, but I disagree with some of their approach to it, but I think in the long run it's really going to pan out positively for everybody who's sitting here and involved in Google Plus right now. You're going to be very pleasantly surprised in the next 6 months to a year, I think.
I think so too, and that was our first prediction of the show, by the way. So boom, coming at you.
Good.
Hey, Dustin, stop. How about you, brother man? Because I have a comment here that somebody wants to know. Hold on a second, and I'll have to pull it up. They want to know when you're gonna It's Charlotte Pierce. I was gonna bring this up, but it's up already. Hey, when is Dustin gonna have that face swap with that anti-G plus guy? It was that again. We all know who that was, and I got to tell you, I am that crap crazy for Gary Vaynerchuk, but I'm pretty excited about that. I want you guys to dress in sumo suits when it happens.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying, with the fake hair and the whole thing. I think that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I'm all for it, and I'll be the first to say I've got a man crush on Gary Vaynerchuk.
Right.
So there's no hostility there.
Yeah.
But I'm still waiting to hear back from him. I haven't heard back. Everybody knows that he saw those notifications that got sent his way, some 300 notifications that I could count, sent his way to answer, to see if he would mind chatting with me online. And I'm working on some things to get his attention. He's got some ways that people can reach out to him for buying large quantities of his book. And so, who knows? I might just up and buy 60 books and get 10 minutes of his time.
Linda Bate Johnson, by the way, I want to give her a shout. She actually was at the book signing, I think in Portland, and I do have a signed copy of the Right Hook, Jab, Jab, Jab.
Jab, jab, right hook.
Yeah, Jab, Jab, Right Hook. Got a little backwards. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Always been a big fan of his. He was here for a book sign in Denver, and I think he probably almost was ready to call the security because I was nerding out so hardcore in the front row. Just because I do love him, but I would be interested to see how that would go. It does surprise me. I mean, I know we've all drank the Google Plus Kool-Aid, but it does surprise me that he's so vehement about it. So with that,
surprising is his thoughts on Snapchat, which I'm completely against, and he's an insightful guy. So I just want to square up with him toe to toe and get his perspective and fully vet his ideas on that, and give him my perspective on Google Plus and see if we can't stretch each other a little bit intellectually and socially, and maybe slap each other around just for fun.
Here's a good one, by the way. Eli Fennell just nailed it. I'm stoked for Battle of Wits cage match. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. The other man leaves because it's just social media. No one's actually going to fight to the death.
That sounds about right.
That's Elliot. Pretty cool.
Make sure Mia's there with sound effects to mediate.
I'm working on Google putting in some bitch slap sound effects, which sounds like this. That is really what I'm looking for. So perhaps in 2013 they will bring back a lot more sound effects. Dustin, with that though, my brother, what was you've been doing some amazing stuff in 2013. Tell us what was kind of one of the biggest changes you had going on in this past year.
Well, it's been a long year. An interesting year. Going into 2013, I had some good momentum for my blog and was doing some pretty cool things with collaborative works that I was doing, and this year brought a whole lot more collaboration. The Google updates have had an opposite effect on my blog, it seems. Everybody was freaking out when I was cheering because this year brought an extremely mind-boggling increase in traffic and leads, and my subscribers I mean, looking at the numbers is just absolutely ridiculous. I'm a little bewildered at my referral traffic, though. That's pretty crazy. Google Plus used to be my #1 source of referral traffic. It's now moved from #1 to #4, and what I mean by that is it's both #1 and #4.
Boom.
The weirdest thing in the world. Google Plus is now responsible for 48% of my web traffic, referral traffic,
Right.
not including organic. So anybody that says Google Plus is not a valuable place is completely bonkers.
That's kind of crazy and not in a good way, right?
Right. My numbers would say otherwise, as the #1 and #4 referrer of traffic to all my sites. So it's been an interesting year. Met some really cool people. I got a chance to work with some really cool companies, doing some branding, creating some infographics. It's been. I got a new baby on the way. Tomorrow morning we're going in to bring the little guy into this world, and it's going to be
a fellow father. Getting any sleep?
No, I haven't gotten sleep in 2 years.
I know the feeling. I know
it's only going to get worse.
That calls for this, by the way.
Congratulations, Dustin. Welcome to. You got 2 now. Welcome to.
Yes, this is #2.
It's prepare for no more sleep again.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's an almost New Year's baby, then. Is that correct?
Will. It's well. He's going to be delivered on the 30th. So he'll be before the New Year's.
That poor kid's never going to have any kind of birthday gift wrapped in normal paper. I just got to tell you.
True story. I'm fully stocked with Starbucks coffee. Thanks to Starbucks for sending me some. They actually tweeted me a coffee.
I saw that the other day. Now that's kind of fun. I did see get a little collaborative effort with Starbucks. You're going to be all kind of hopped up, aren't you?
I will be hopped up on the Christmas blend and pumpkin spice lattes for as long as I can.
All right.
I love it. I love it. And I'm glad. I was hoping somebody would bring up Snapchat so I could see you kind of lose your mind a little bit, because I do like how you get sort of feral about Snapchat. In fact, Eli Fennell wants to know. He says don't underestimate Snapchat. More mainstream than you think. So that could be our first kind of round of talking about what we are thinking is going to happen in 2014, just based on clearly all of our lives. And just to throw mine in there, my life is completely different than January of last year, because I had tried out Google Plus in June of the year before, heard the crickets chirping, and was like, I got to get out of here. I don't have time for this. And then seriously, and then came back in February of last year and just decided that it was okay to do Hangouts. I thought it was the most cost-effective, obviously fun thing to do, and just played around with it and have kind of ridden the wave of all the updates and changes. Ronnie Vincer, by the way, I wouldn't be here without all of his work that he does to keep up on things, so shout out to Ronnie. But with that, what are you guys seeing for this year? Obviously, HOAs are really going to take off for everybody, so let's jump into that. What are you predicting for 2014 besides the zombie apocalypse?
I like what Dustin said already about collaborations, and I think that is going to be the big thing. Everybody now is having a TV show here on Google Plus, you know, so the sky's the limit as far as that's concerned. The only problem is now it's still information overload, because luckily today we don't have any competition for Hangout viewers, but on any given day there's, you know, so many Hangouts scheduled. It's like, which one should I watch? And so I see that, and so you got the long form video here with the Hangouts, but then I don't know what's going to happen with Snapchat. I kind of favor Instagram videos. In fact, I posted a little Instagram video of you inviting every to this Hangout right before the Hangout.
Nice. All right, I need to go see that.
The big screen over on my smart TV, so I recorded that. And you know, so I'm a big fan of video, YouTube, and all of that. So any different way that you can involve video, I think is always still going to be positive. Snapchat may do well because brands are embracing it. They like it because, of course, it's a cheaper way for them to get their message out, you know, because they don't have to, you know, have the long form video. But I think anything related to video, of course, podcasting, and these hangouts, that's a winner.
What do you think is the easiest way for someone like me who has the video? I'm going to jump into podcasting real quick, and then we'll go back on predictions of accessing podcasting. I know I've had a couple conversations with Shannon Hernandez about it, a couple different people, but just for the newbie that's going to have a show, and then tell us about the value with having the YouTube, the shows, and then the podcasting. Learn me.
Yeah. Well, the podcast, the quickest thing that you have to do is you got to remember, like with YouTube and with Google, they're doing us a big favor. They are providing free hosting for us, but it's not going to work that way with podcasting. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is get yourself a podcasting host. I recommend Libsyn. Some people use Amazon. I wouldn't go that route only because I hear too many horror stories. I recommend Libsyn, and once you set up your account with Libsyn and start uploading your files there, your media files there, you're halfway there. The rest is just like promotion, which you're already the queen of doing. We all know that.
Got that going for me.
And the other benefit of Libsyn is that because of the smartphone revolution, so to speak, you're going to be able to have your own app. So you're going to be able to have an iPhone app, an Android app, and you're not going to get that with anyone else.
Did you see me? I just was like, at a moment, I'm like, oh, my own app. I had to fan myself. I got excited.
Absolutely. In fact, I have them.
The Dusty Scout app.
Even for Windows Phone, you'd have an app. So that, and once you get over that, you know, you're there.
Love it. I love it. No, that's perfect too. Listen, and I'm just watching the comments. Collaboration, Eileen, thank you for that. And Lynn, thanks for the requote of collaboration is the new competition. I mean, that is the really fun thing about this. And don't you guys think that even with finding collaborations on G+, you can kind of vet out people even more quickly now? You have the conversation. You see if you've got, you know, something going on. You feel like you've got a connection, and then you can really kind of take off. So I'm loving it. It just cuts through a lot of that chaff for me, for sure. David Amland over in Greece, brother. What's your finger on the pulse for 2014? Again, I really think there might be a zombie apocalypse coming, but you just tell me what you think.
Well, if it does, the thing to remember is a samurai sword is better than a shotgun.
That's my man. I love you for that. Just shoot him in the head. Double tap. Okay.
But,
double tap.
But essentially, we've been going down this road for some time now, and there are two trends there. One is hyperconnectivity, where everybody gets really connected, and the other one is personalization. And everything we've seen in terms of Google+, Snapchat, Facebook, the way search works and the switch to semantic search, follows those two things. It makes sense of how we connect with each other, and it personalizes it so that it makes sense for us in a contextual way, at a contextual level. We've got to remember that the information we put on the web every single day is growing exponentially. There's absolutely no way we can make sense of it unless it is pertinent to us. And I think Eileen said, you know, there's so many hangouts on air, there's so much content going on. The answer is yes, but not everything is going to be pertinent to what we want to do. And essentially the whole idea of information actually creating value hinges on the fact that it is personalized to us, and it is born out of all this activity, and it has value to what we want to do next. So that's how it's going to go, and it's going to become more and more so.
More tailor-made. Listen, and can I just compliment you again on your awesome accent? Because I just listen to you talk all day. I'm sorry to dumb it down like that, but I haven't had a chance to nerd out on your accent. He just makes everything sound so good. So I am with you on that. Craig Chamberlain, you want to jump in on that too, my friend?
Yeah, very valuable insights. He
Yes.
nailed it. What's really going on here is that Google, even if you look at their searches, they've got something called a personalized search now in the top right-hand corner. The future of search is going to be based solely on your interests, your history, and everything about you. It just makes perfect sense. It's Amazon's approach to marketing, and when they're trying to sell you something,
Right.
it just works, you know. And I'm actually amazed continually at how good Amazon can be at doing that. But the idea is that you don't just connect with information anymore. You connect with people. I mean, we all live on social media now.
Right.
And so people-centric searches, people-centric content is going to be a big part of the future as well. And I think that's why Google's invested so heavily in Google+, because we tend to be drawn into personalities a lot more than just information.
Right.
And so it's going to be a real interesting thing for the future of YouTube, the merger there. That's why I said I was excited about that, was because what they're doing is YouTube is a very personal platform for broadcasting and publishing. And it really creates a connection between the content creator and the content producer, which historically for content creators has never really been there as a direct connect. But it's never really, YouTube's never really had the potential to connect with your audience in a good way.
Right.
Because the community system there was just very shallow. It was very loosely based. And so when this transition took place, it drove a lot of people nuts. Now, what I got frustrated with was that Google didn't make it user-friendly. But going into the future, the fact that it'll tie in directly with social is going to be a huge value added for content creators, because you can gather real metrics and information for sponsors and all that stuff. But you can also get an idea of what your true demographic is, and like David said, you can actually market yourself in a much more niche way, so people follow you because you're you.
Right.
And so you're able to actually appeal to a certain audience across the board. It's an exciting thing, but it's still
can I break
really
in
young.
here?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Craig.
Yes,
Couple things I wanted to say. First, love your microphone set up there because you sound so good.
He looks good, sounds good. He's got it all going on.
You mentioned sponsorships. Oh, that's a whole nother hangout altogether.
Yes.
Let's get together and do that one.
Yes.
Later on.
And I have a feeling that's going to be all of us. It's going to be on that one too, because
Wait a minute. I don't have a sponsor yet.
Okay. Well, we can talk about it either way.
I will tell you, it has been an interesting thing because a couple of my shows have been sponsored. The Christine and Mia show, we also have a couple different sponsors. I know Wade Harmon has it too. When you guys start putting the numbers together and talk about getting me nerding out, and my prediction for 2014 is people really are going to realize the just how much power there is in it. Think about what you were saying, Eileen, that there's so many different shows. You don't know which one to choose from. Guess what? You can go back and just be like, you know, just like TEDx, how we all just eat up our TEDx. It's going to be the same kind of thing. We've got our must-see HOA lineup that we go through, and then we just schedule it out and say, oh, you know, in fact, I was watching Craig Chamberlain's with David Oldenburg before this, just kind of had it on the background and was just soaking up all the Craig Chamberlain I could get for the show. And there's that. But I mean, it's so valuable when you think about, like, for me, like, my show starts, I start advertising a couple days, you know, 5 days beforehand. You've got, these people get exposure 4 or 5 days. They get exposure on the video. I mean, it's pretty cool. It can be a pretty cool setup. So that's my little shout out that I think, and you know, Dustin, you and I talked about that when you did your awesome show a couple weeks ago of you know, talk about monetizing. That's a big thing for everybody, right? Because we can all be, my favorite quote is, you can be really popular and flat ass broke, right? So
that's the truth.
It's not a good look.
Hey, that's me.
That's why you have that day job, brother, and you do your show at 5 in the morning.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
You do, and it's an awesome show. Could you plug your show for us really quick, by the way? I mean, talk about some needs
technically, I've got 3 shows. It's on one YouTube channel, though. The first show is PCM Tech Help Show. That's basically my Q&A with my audience at 5 o'clock in the morning or 7:30 in the morning Eastern. And I answer any kind of questions the audience might have. That's about an hour long. It's a hangout on air, and that is live. And that's Monday through Friday. My other 2 shows are a little more lighthearted. I'm actually going to film that after I leave here. That's with me and a buddy of mine, Chris, and we talk about more fun, topical humor kind of things.
That is very fun, by the way. Yes.
And we do gameplay videos in the evening. So we got basically 3 different things going on. It's a lot of fun because I get to talk about the serious stuff in the morning and then have a little more fun in the afternoon and evening. So.
That's cool.
I hear you. Hey, I need to, as I told you guys, I'm going to be pulling up great comments. Chef Dennis, I love you, brother. I think David Amerlin is the Sean Connery of the HOAs. Boom. That might be the most quotable out of the day. So, and I gotta pull that one down. Hey, Dustin, what do you think is going to happen in 2014? Give us some feedback on that.
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that could happen. I think it's really interesting what's happening with Apple and their acquisition of a recent Twitter analytics company. For a while now, I've suspected that Twitter was grooming Apple to a potential acquisition. And I haven't heard anybody talking about this lately, but I don't know if it'll happen in 2014, if Apple's going to give the stock a year to see whether or not Twitter is worth acquiring, but I do believe Apple is considering acquiring Twitter.
Ooh, that's juicy.
There's been certain things that the CEO of Twitter has said about their admiration for Apple and how they model themselves after Apple, and I've heard a lot of Apple talks and little drops in the pot here and there, and so I don't know. I think we could see Apple give Twitter a lot more attention, possibly an acquisition, maybe not in 2014, maybe 2015. But that's something I'm keeping a close eye on because I love Twitter. I love Apple products. I'm a designer and an aesthetic,
So that'd be a perfect romance for you to see, huh?
Yeah, that would be. I would have, the perfect harmony of my mechanics and Twitter and
right.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's
that's my big, hairy, audacious.
I think that is juicy. I like it. I'm gonna soundbite that, and next year I'm gonna be like, guess what Dustin said?
You heard it here first, folks.
Exactly. And speaking of David, I was doing a little snooping on you too. It's very fun to stalk my guests because you guys have so much good shiny. As I like to say, you did an article. I know you said you're getting ready to do another one of kind of like what went wrong or the different disasters, social media disasters. You want to chat about?
Social media, yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Social media as a channel generally continues to throw challenges, and it throws challenges because we in a transition period, especially from a marketing point of view, where we used to market at a price point, giving a price for an item, and we used to use advertising to actually explain why that item is worth that price. And that was it. That was the sale. And then we went on to chase the next one. And social media doesn't work that way. It actually has changed the way the consumer audience thinks about it. We're empowered, we're knowledgeable. We don't want to buy one product. We want to buy something from a company, and that company or that business needs to have a personality we understand. It needs to have reasons that we buy into before we actually enter into business with them.
Right.
It brings us all into this knowledge, personality, trust factor, which essentially makes us open our wallets. And social media, being transparent as it is, has wrong-footed companies time and again because as they try to transition to it, they make the classic mistake of thinking it's another broadcast channel and we're just a mass of individuals who don't matter. And you get one person with 10 followers, and those 10 followers are the right 10 followers, and you wrong-foot them, and they basically can cause you so much damage in terms of brand loss and brand equity loss and damage to your company brand.
That transparency is amazing, and it's so quick, right?
Exactly, and it's immediate. And companies can't work that fast. They can't because traditionally they've been process-driven. Everybody knows what they're doing. It's been agreed 6 months before. Somebody needs to do something now. It has to be put on a memo. It goes up the chain. Somebody else passes it along.
Right.
The person making the ultimate decision, he gets thousands of things from everybody. They're changing. I must say that. I advise multinationals on that front, so I see it firsthand. And they're not stupid. They appear to be stupid because of the mistakes they make.
They're just slow.
Yeah, I mean, they're trapped by their setup. So
Sure.
they behave in a certain way. They know that if they change too fast, they will basically destroy the company. So that's counterproductive. They are beginning to change. And the interesting thing here, and this is the prediction for the future, not just 2014, is that corporations as we know them are going to die out. They're going to basically become social business in the full sense of the word, because in order to move in the current marketplace, you need to be nimble, you need to be fast, you need to be intelligent. You need to be what we are. And the only way they can become that is by essentially mirroring the processes and the setups we operate in. So the structures which they have internally are going to change. And as they change, they will change. And that's how the ones who will change obviously will survive, and the ones who don't, well, they won't.
It's the age-old evolution, right?
It is, yes.
I'm loving this. Corporations are going to die out. I mean, this is, you guys, I'm going to soundbite this. This is that's really good stuff.
Hang on one second. I gotta make a note here. Buy David's book.
Note to self. Which, by the way, I did buy it. Yes.
I've been saying things similar to that. You just worded it so much more spectacularly and in a much better accent than I've ever been able to.
What I tell you, Craig, right? Not just me.
It's very difficult to market a brand right now in the current climate we're in. It's very difficult.
Yes.
People just they're so tired of it, because we've been so saturated in it growing up.
Yeah.
And the next generation ain't buying it. If you watch kids and what they're following on internet and what they're doing, I see my nephews time and time again. None of them are following a company or buying products from a person. They're buying something that was recommended by a fellow YouTuber or something that was just awesome. People are talking about it. It's just a very social thing now. It's become much less about Toyota or Ford, or it just works. But like you said, we're a lot more educated. We can pull up our phone now and find out.
Yeah, and find out the authenticity of something, or talk to somebody about it and see what they think too. Hey, speaking of which, I picked up David's book yesterday. Just saying. And also was able to get and Beth and Davey, shout out to you, girlfriend, because she said she also picked it up, and she said it was very, very palatable and easy to read, which I love. But David, I also did a cool thing. You gave me my little e-signature over the computer, which was awesome. So you actually signed the book. But you were saying in the green room that you're going to be printing off some more copies. Is that right? Let's plug you for a second.
Yeah, I was in a discussion with the publishers at the beginning of last week. And essentially, we're going for a reprint. And it's fascinating to see, because publishers are very traditional still in their... And my publisher is Pearson. It's one of the big 7 in the world. So
nice.
They're very monolithic.
It's not the self-publishing thing or anything. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying. This is real deal.
No, there isn't. Yeah, I mean, if I had the time to market my books myself, sure, it'd probably be a better route to go down on. But I haven't, because I'm running 2 jobs. I write and I present and I travel, so there's no time for that.
Yeah.
So we went through the process where they said, okay, our biggest costs are inventory. If we print another 10,000 copies, it's going to go in the warehouse. It has to be shipped from there. So how are we selling? And then, we had to basically look at all the figures across the world in order to make a judgment, which is, it's fair enough because it's money involved. But
right.
I was fascinated by the process because, we can see that it's selling, and from my perspective, I can see that it actually has future. But from their perspective, we're getting almost to the 9-month period for the book. So they're thinking, is it going to slow down? Which is, fair enough.
Sure.
So we had to go into that discussion. But anyway, the good news is that they're printing 10,000 more copies in January, so it's good.
Congratulations.
Hey, and speaking of which, Kamari Ellis says, where is David Amerland's book? And it is called Google Semantic Search. Craig Fifield, I know you're out in the audience, my brother. He's so good about posting links. So I would love for him to post a link of that. And then, David, you have several other books. Is that correct?
That's right. This is
hey,
actually...
Kamari, that's my homeboy,
is
Kamari.
It?
Yes.
I'm going to give him a little shout right there.
Yeah, this is my 6th book, so, and I've got another one which I'm completing now. So yeah.
I really wish you would do something with your life. I'm hoping for 2014 you get something going.
Yeah, I need to get out more.
You need to get out more, exactly.
Yeah.
Here's I'm going to jump in real quick before we switch over. Miss Lynn, I love her to death. Biggest focus for 2014 has got to accelerate anything that is slow, low, mo. Mark my words, got to be all three. If you want to showcase your signee and in a way that really connects, as David is saying, hyper-connectivity, personalizing our engagement. Holla, that pretty much nails it. Here's another one. I like this from Michael Mason. Could 2014 be the year of authenticity, digital media, collaboration? Yes, and then as you guys may know, I'm also dubbing it Year of the Kick-Ass. So that kind of goes with the high too. I do. I dub the Year of the Kick-Ass. So let's get real feisty and bust out the F word. Do we know what that is? Dustin, what's the F word? Facebook.
Falafel. There's several F words that I know.
In this, well, yeah, when you talk to me, yeah, there's several. However, in this arena, because I know you just recently did a post, and David, you did this as well about. You were saying about the difference in the transparency. So let's bust that out. Let's talk about that. Facebook. Where's that going in 2014?
Hey, all right, Facebook. You know, it's one of these things where you say Facebook is too big to fail, and in a way it is because it keeps on growing. But size, I mean, we're in a world where things are a little bit crazy because size doesn't mean anything if you can't produce value. And Facebook is growing, but it's growing because it's expanding in the developed world right now. It's expanding very fast on mobile in markets which use mobile primarily to get online. And although it has value for the individuals within that very closed market, in terms of marketing as a whole, the value of Facebook is coming under question mark. And the demographics themselves are showing a decline in developed countries. Teens are abandoning it in droves. The latest study came out because it's not cool anymore. Now, the fascinating thing is, but when you have something the size of Facebook, it has a gravity of its own. And the strategy which they are beginning to put in place right now is that instead of expecting people to use Facebook per se, they're acquiring apps. They've got Instagram. They're trying to acquire Snapchat. You know, they're interested basically in acquiring the apps that you use. And the thinking behind it is the same thinking that Google has. Google has an ecosystem. We use a variety of products, which then help the brand impact upon our consciousness. And when it comes to a purchasing decision, you know, Google is there, whether you're going to buy AdWords or you buy into any of their paid services. And Facebook is trying to basically do the same thing. I'm saying trying because they're trying to, right now they've got Titanic on their hands, and they're trying to steer it away from the ice floes.
Yeah.
So or rearrange the deck chairs.
Yes.
Oh, wait, are they really trying to steer it away from the icebergs, or do they really care about the icebergs?
Well,
or speeding up.
Yeah.
Or speeding up towards the icebergs.
The thing is, they're not stupid. They're as clever as we are. If we can see it, they can see it. Obviously, the thing is, when you're in that kind of environment, like when you work in a corporation, you have everyday pressures demanding your attention, and you've got to deal with them first before you can take a step back and actually think strategy and plotting a course. So, they're trying to sort of do both things, which is always very tricky. It's huge, right? I mean, if we think of MySpace, it hasn't gone away. It's evolved. So Facebook isn't really going to vanish overnight. It's not going to vanish, in 10 or 30 or 50 years from now. But it is going to change in the way we know it. And certainly its value for us, the immediate value as marketers, is questionable at present.
Questionable is
we're on
definitely the word. I've tried marketing on Facebook. Let's just say as a content producer, they have all kinds of metric tools and all the wonderful analytical tools that you could use, but they got no real way of, as a person trying to pay them, of gauging the success rate or anything to really make it worth your while. In fact, they tend to penalize content producers now unless you pay them more money just to have people see your content. And that's just from the publisher standpoint. From the user standpoint, it's a nightmare of an interface. They've overwhelmed the users who are, it's no offense to them, the tool was made to be simple, It's way overcomplicated now, and it's clunky. It's frustrating. And I actually did a whole video. I did a whole. I don't think so. I did a whole video on this subject. It's called the series talk about the dangers of Facebook, and it talks a lot about
It's an after-school special.
It is. I talk a lot about. I implore that Facebook go back to its roots when it comes to usability, because every time I talk to a Facebook user now, they're frustrated. And it's unfortunate.
Feel like it's you walk into a casino, and the goal of a casino is to make it as complicated to get around so that you can't find your way out.
Right.
So they keep you in there spending more money. I almost feel like that's what Facebook's doing. They're making it.
Yes.
That's a good
They have the most brilliant. They have the money to pay the most brilliant UI designers and UX designers and front end and back end developers, but yet it still looks like garbage and works like garbage. But so I'm almost I tend to think that they did that on purpose. They want to keep people there as long as possible.
It's entirely possible, Dustin, but then we get into the discussion of whether that's going to work in the long term as a business strategy, especially in a highly competitive market.
Here's a good point from Brother Randy. We all know about this one. I haven't done it yet because I like my two worlds, build a bridge to Facebook users. They will love G+. I understand today, actually, and I didn't do it today, that you can literally post a live Hangout link. Craig, do you know about this? That you can post a live Hangout link and it does show up on Facebook as just a click to play. Have you tried that yet?
I usually share my videos before I do all my live broadcasts. Honestly, I haven't tested it yet. I'm hoping it's working.
If I grow another arm, I probably will, because I can't do so much when I'm actually running a show. And Bob Voss would grow another arm. He's three-legged, so I need to get him on the case. But yes, I mean, I think there. We all choose our battles. I know I'm still over there as well, but I like my world over here on Google Plus too. But I did want to kind of see what we could stir up for Facebook. This is also a good one too, and I think again, David, this might have been your article. Facebook closed network, Google Plus open network. Enough said. Boom.
Yes.
That kind of nails it too.
One of my some of my feedback that I have about Facebook, for me, I'm finding that the value is in the groups, okay, the Facebook groups, and
yes,
and a lot of those people, like I have a group there. And I even said to them one day, look, we're moving this over to Google Plus. And they kind of like revolted, no, I'm not even on Google Plus yet. And I was like, all right.
They were scared, huh?
But, yes, but eventually I think as more and more people start moving over to Google Plus, and when they, they're so bogged down with Facebook and trying to understand it, that they just see Google Plus as maybe being an annoyance. That's something else I don't have time to learn. No, yeah, because you're spending all your time learning all the dumb stuff that's going on with Facebook.
We're navigating all the dumb stuff that comes.
Yeah, if you could just let Facebook go. And I decided about maybe 3 or 4 months ago that I'm just not going to promote any post, or I'm just not promoting anything else on Facebook anymore. Yep. It's just like they're just trying to suck the life out of you, and you're not getting, talking about return on investment, you don't get it because people are just so distracted with all the other stuff that's going on there. So the only value that I do still see there is with groups. And like I mentioned, Instagram, and I'm glad you guys said that they may be buying Vine or Snapchat or whatever. That may be something else. It's just like an outpost. Like, I'm not really posting on Facebook. I'm posting on Instagram. I hope that they don't ruin Instagram the way they've done Facebook. I don't know. Maybe they just have it on the sideline right now. And but as soon as they start, messing up with that timeline and that stream, I'm out of there too.
Well, and I would say probably the best advice for anybody with all of these, because I know we're all active in it, is just having a plan too. Like, anything can be a time suck. So, even with Google Plus, you just want to have your plan. And if you decide I'm gonna live here mainly on Google Plus, and then I'm gonna Twitter on over here, and then I'm gonna do a little LinkedIn or whatever you need to do, that's always great. It's just having a plan more than anything. Especially, we're all a brand, right? No matter if we're goofing off or That is kind of my brand, is goofing off, but
I can relate. But you're absolutely right, though, Mia. I can't emphasize this enough. I tried for the longest time to be a brand on multiple social networks, and the fact is if you're doing a social network right, you got to put the time in, and time is a precious commodity now, and it's actually the future commodity.
Time is money, brother.
For any kind of content producer too, is because right now there's so much content to absorb.
Yes.
And actually, Chris Pirillo had mentioned this to me the other day. He goes, as YouTube and all these other channels become more and more prominent, it's going to be more of a difficult thing to compete for other people's time, because really that's the commodity of the future. Your product is, you have to convince people that you're worth X amount of minutes per day,
right,
in order to be building your product.
Preach it.
I like that little name, how you little name drop in there.
Yeah, you see that? Boom.
2 thumbs up for Chris Pirillo.
I was going to say, I love what Craig just said, because essentially we are in an attention economy.
Yes.
You know, that's the only thing that actually has real value right now, because everything else has become so much of that the value is relatively negligible in terms of accessing or even production. But attention is what actually generates everything else, and in order to capture that attention, you need to be as personable and real as you can, and that's, in many ways, that's the intrinsic value of G+, because the connectivity is so granular that it becomes very difficult to actually fake it. You get to know people and you get to know what they stand for, and then you become confident in actually promoting their brand, amplifying their message, and vice versa. And that's unique. That's, we never had that before. This is part of a different way of operating in the world.
I think so, and with that, you don't have to be all things to everybody as well, right? You can just, you really, and when you are authentic, then, and I think somebody said the A word, they're saying, stop saying the A word. apparently that's going to get overused by 2014, but I still like it, but no, I love that. So you guys, can you believe we are 51 minutes into this, because that's how fun and cool you guys are. I want to pimp you out briefly and ask our audience to please come up with any questions that you have for all this firepower. Now's your time to ask any specific questions. But with that, I've got 2 more things I want to ask of each of you. What do you see? What do you see is going to happen for you in 2014? What's your prediction for yourself, your wish list, whatever? Boom, Craig Chamberlain, go.
Wait, what was the question? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
I'm sorry, I was writing a blog.
I was reading the comment section here. People were talking.
He was lost in Facebook. Don't let him
know. He was doing a Facebook post, a status update.
Speaking of being real, I have a very poor attention span. Ask my wife.
I have short attention span. I'm with you. Why do you think I'm on here? Hey, what's your prediction for yourself for 2014? What are you up to?
I finally feel like I found my niche or niche, or however you want to say it.
Niche.
Niche niche. Mostly, I'm going to keep doing the show and grow it as much as I can and help as many people as possible. And hopefully start looking into sponsorships and things like that. I've never really been a go out and find sponsors kind of guy. So I'm really focusing on my content generation and kind of drawing people in right now, and hoping that over time I won't have to put a whole lot of effort. And just getting in contact with all you people kind of happened naturally in a good way. So, so I'm hoping that kind of is how it all pans out in the long run. But really, my show is where I'm at. I'm committed to it for 2014. Sweet.
I'm going with the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. You're going to attract the right people that need to be assigned to be attached to you on that for the partnership, right?
Yeah. My goal here is to be able to be myself and do what I love and have fun every time I'm doing it. So, and it's a lot more difficult than you think once you start getting feedback. Because you take a lot of that personally, and you shouldn't, but...
I deleted it. I'm just kidding. Oh, you didn't get... This is... Christine and I came up with this the other way. #, get paid to be awesome. I'd say that's going to be...
I support that.
Bob Voss approves that message, by the way. Hey, David Amerland, what are you going to do for 2014, my friend, besides be even more awesome?
Help world peace, and perhaps.
I believe it.
I love it.
Can I take mine back? I suddenly feel very shallow.
No, you need to get paid to be awesome. We're not taking that one back.
Well, I do a lot of corporate talks throughout the year and in different parts of the world. So really, I've been seeing it now for the last 2-3 years, and we're edging towards really a better way of working, which has an impact on the world. So really, the world peace thing is a bit of a stretch, but you can see how we're going to get there.
It's an offshoot. It's a byproduct, right?
Exactly. Because we're all everything we do has an impact, and it may not be immediate sometimes, but it is there, and we're going to see it. So really, I just hope that we'll see a little bit more of acceleration from large corporations, and that will help everything move along faster. We're in interim period now because we left the 20th century behind. We're in the 21st century. We don't know what it's about, and everything we see from governments freezing and not running countries to self-serving politicians to corruption across the board. Right. These are the symptoms of the old world. We're going to get past those, and we really need to find solutions. And it all starts very simply by this kind of connectivity, exchange of ideas, which then has a greater impact. So more of that, please.
I like that. It's almost like the reverse bullhorn, don't you think? They used to be the ones that were shouting out the message to us, and now we can be the message to them. And that would be the ideal world, is that the corporations.
It's the way it should be. They are there on our behalf.
Target audience.
Yeah, to actually do the job which we have asked them to do, and we trusted them to do that. And they're doing anything but. And then they're giving us all these excuses why they can't do that job, but they're going to do some other job which they like to do. And, this is not the way the world works. So time for things to get a little bit more real.
I think it's heading that way, and that's what's great too. I love what you said too. That really the things that can change, people are listening. Things come across a lot quicker. Things. If there's a message, if there's a scandal, if there's something that's not right, you're going to learn about it a lot more quickly. So hopefully people are listening. I got to pop this in here. This one is awesome. Oh shoot, it just went away. I'm going to find it. Lynn was saying it's going to be less about B2B and B2C, but P2P. People, all about the people, bad crap crazy. We're coming to that, by the way. Get ready, Craig. Get your after we go back through here. Bad crap crazy's coming. All right, Dustin, what's your prediction besides changing massive amounts of diapers in 2014?
She was holding that one the whole show.
I just made that one up. But it was good.
Massive amounts of diapers.
Yes, poopy diapers.
You say 2 predictions or 1 prediction?
What's your 2014 prediction for yourself? What are you going to be doing? Bust it out.
Personally, I believe I'm going to be acquired by Google in 2014.
Excellent. Can I be a subsidiary?
I predict that Yahoo will make an offer because they like the fact that I dropped a vowel in my name. But I will accept Google's offer because I like them better.
You dropped the I.
No, seriously though, I have a lot of plans and ideas, and I feel like I'm plagued with creativity. I have far too many ideas. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like that. They just got so many ideas. They don't have enough time to do them. So I'm just going to start giving away ideas in 2014. I just don't have the time to capitalize on all the ideas I have. So one of the things I'll be doing through my newsletter and through my blog is just giving away these ideas that I have that I know for sure I can't possibly do myself. And
that is awesome.
I don't know exactly what that looks like. But I really think I've found my rhythm in writing, and
me too.
By the grace of God, I've had some really great connections through my blog, and some really great client opportunities, and it's going to be a good year, and I'm just going to see how much more I can give, or jab, as Gary Vee would say. I'm going to just test myself to the limits of giving, and just trust that things are gonna work out on my end as well.
That is very, that's going to be very profitable for a lot of people as well when they get to pick the brain of Dustin, or he's going to give that away. I love that. I also predict that you're going to have the Duke out with Gary Vaynerchuk and then a mandate right after that.
Yeah, I'm totally down.
Like a video, you guys are going to have a drinks out on the town. It's going to be awesome.
I also predict that I will get a phone call letting me know that they have chosen me over Ben Affleck to play the next Batman.
And I think there's a lot of people who would actually be really happy about that.
They don't want to hire people with more talent.
I like that. All right, Miss Eileen, what's 2014 looking like for you?
Yeah, I think that, to quote our friend and fellow tribe mate, Dino Dugan, if you don't have a blog, you don't have a voice, and I think that includes YouTube, podcasting, everybody. You can change the world one blog at a time. So that's why I feel like I am empowering people. That's why I do tutorials, try to help people, answer questions.
I got one. That wonderful little love video you made for me that just made my week. It made such a difference for me.
You know, I do that all the time. People ask me, you know, what can I do to improve my blog? I'll make the private video for them. You know, it's just about, you never know. Like a lot of people that started following me maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I look at them now and they're like making thousands of dollars online with, you know, maybe e-commerce or anything like that. My daughter, she's just doing so many great things.
That's awesome.
And so we kind of inspire each other. So I expect to see more and more of that. Like I said, growing the podcast, growing the YouTube channel, reaching out to more people so that they can become empowered. And that's what I really love to do.
Boom. And I think that, looping on what David said earlier too, of like, you just don't know what people you're going to change. You know, it could be a really subtle type of thing, but I think as far as blogs, HOAs, everybody's got a voice, everybody's got a message out there. Yes, it could become a little saturated, but I think there's plenty of room out there.
And Mia, don't let anybody don't believe the people that say blogging is dying. Don't believe that. Okay, have your own home, have your own platform.
That's right.
You can put your message out. You don't want Facebook shutting you down. You know, like even Craig and I, we have these YouTube channels, but you never know when YouTube just comes along and says, "Oh, we're going to shut you down." You know, it's happened.
It's like a vacation home.
Just happened last week. Yeah, for a lot of people who are doing the gameplay videos.
That's
you know what
right.
I usually do for the people who say that blogging is dying and other ridiculous things like that? I just give them the Willy Wonka. You're weird.
And then oh really? Tell me more about it, and then walk away, right?
You know, and even you know, as much as we all love Google Plus, you know, I see a lot of people that are just like, I'm just going to totally post on Google Plus. I see a lot of people kind of backing off of that too, because remember, you also need to grow your email list. So, you know, Google Plus is nice, but, you know, when you send out an email, you don't really want to send people to a Google Plus post. But remember, you can embed that post. You can embed that Facebook post. You can embed all kinds, YouTube, whatever, on your website. So have your blog and change the world.
You guys, Miss Eileen always gives the best little bon mots, by the way. So you guys got that one. And as we say, the list, that's money, baby. That is definitely money. That's what they would say in Swinger. So I'm going to give you my 2014. Before they do that, I'm going to do my little drum roll. Because this year, for 2014, man, I love those sound effects, I am changing up my show. It's now going to be called the Mia Connect Power Chat. That is coming up as of this coming Friday. I've decided that I'm getting out of the niche so far with just social media and online, and I want to start bringing you guys some kick-ass people that may not be that big in this Google Plus world or online, but they need a voice. So start looking for some folks that you may not have seen before. John Lee Dumas, hopefully I'm saying his name right, Entrepreneurs on Fire. He's coming up next month. Eli Davidson, Fran Harris, who's a WNBA basketball player. Big girl crush on her, FYI, both those ladies.
All right.
Just people, yeah, just people like that I think will be fun. And of course, the experts still. We'll still have the weekend show as well, but that's where I'm headed. I'm gonna change things up, people, and I think that's what's fun you can do here is say you can change direction a little bit or tweak and see how it works. So that's what's going on for me. And we're a little bit over, but let's get back crap crazy. Go back around. Craig Chamberlain, it's your turn, my brother.
I am bat crap crazy about the book I just ordered called Google Semantic Search. Search engine optimization techniques.
You know what goes with that? The hashtag Big Bada Boom, okay?
I hear the author knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. Maybe he'll
like
read
a nice
it to
guy.
you. Actually, you need to do an audio tape and books on tape and read it to us.
There you go, David. Do a Hangout on Air live reading of the Google Semantic Search for your audience.
That's
260 pages or something.
I have to swear, that's good shit right there. I gotta just I had to bust it out.
Well, I
Sorry,
didn't have a
sponsors.
bat crap crazy till this started, but I got one.
Oh man, everybody needs to top that one. Dang, that was my bat crap crazy yesterday. Just so you know, I was getting my book. So David, now that we bat crap crazy on you, what's your bat crap crazy?
Guys, I'm butt crap crazy about the time I spent here, and my resolution for the 2014 is that I'm going to spend a little bit more time here and actually create a little bit deeper value. I'm incredibly indebted to the platform and its people. This is my way of giving back. So a bit less sleep for me maybe, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, just, it's all about scheduling. Get the egg timer out. You'll all be good. We will greatly enjoy it. So speaking of which, so you need to come back on the show, all you guys. Now I'm gonna dog shame you into coming back on because you guys are always welcome. So
I'll be there.
and Dustin, this is at least your second or third time, and Miss Eileen as well. So David, thank you so much. Though I appreciate that, and I like that. Thank you. I love that resolution. That's awesome. Dustin Stout, what's your back crap crazy? That new baby coming?
Well, yeah. I am back crap crazy about my little guy coming into the world. His name is Micah.
Micah and Jyda, right?
Yes. Yes. So it'll be Jyda and Micah. He doesn't know it yet, but his daddy's bat crap crazy about him.
That's gonna make me get a little teary-eyed. I dig that one. That's a good ending. Miss Eileen, what's your back crap crazy, darling?
Okay, I'm back crap crazy about my daughter. I'm going to be like Dustin. My daughter, Nikki, she's known as Chic Renegade.
Yes,
you guys look for her. She's got all kinds of awesome beauty and fashion and accessories, and so she's just awesome. She's the one who inspired me to blog, and so we're thick as thieves.
Yeah, I love that. She did. She reached out yesterday, so that's a good back crap crazy too. When your mama's crazy about you, you got it all going on. That's good. That's good stuff. My back crap crazy is 2014 is year of the kick-ass. That's it.
Okay.
I am feeling like, and I don't mean that just for myself. I truly mean that for a lot of people. Some of you have been hearing me say for the last couple of weeks that usually this is a very slow time, and a lot of people are just kind of, coasting through the holidays or stressed out. People are wound up. Justin, like you said, you've got a ton of ideas. I mean, people are jacked up for changes, collaboration, new relationships, in real life meetups, whatever. Hangouts. I think it's going to be a pretty powerful year. So, guys, I want to thank my sponsors again, Edge Ad Exchange, www.edgeadexchange.com. I just wanted to say that one last time for 2013 because it's so stupid. And, of course, thecraftstar.com, who is going to be having a social media boot camp, by the way. So I'm going to be posting all these links. All my guests here, hopefully they have time to stick around and maybe answer some comments or questions. I just read that we only have 75 comments left before it's shut down. Stop right there. That means everybody was fired up about you guys. So once again, Craig Chamberlain, David Amberland, Dustin Stout, Eileen Smith, the last social media power chat ever, because now it's going to be the Mia Connect Power Chat, and the last one of 2013. I'm so happy it was you guys with us. So That's
I'm
it.
honored.
Wow. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yay! I know. I would do that.
Wonderful.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Button. What time of year was that for you, do you think, when you really started to notice the change, David?
Well, as soon as we got past New Year 2012, I just sort of finished, I was finishing the book on semantic search. I was buried in research and writing, and I was sort of sharing a lot of my writing with the G+ audience, and they helped shape what I wrote in terms of accessibility. I'm more academic in my thinking, and tend to be sort of very complicated, and the book isn't like this. It's very simple and accessible.
That's my speed, by the way. Yeah, I like that.
Well, yeah, and it is like that. You know, I have to thank G+ for that, because everybody sort of contributed in terms of ideas, suggestions, their points of view, and that shaped the way I wrote, and it has changed the way I write and the way I think in many ways. So that's been pretty cool.
Okay, who's going to be able to top that one? Come on.
Actually, it's been a lot different for me, because
I love it.
I actually was one of the early adopters of Google+, so I was always here. In fact, I'm still crushed that Google Buzz died, okay? I made a lot of my connections with a lot of the influencers through Google Buzz. So I was kind of already connected when Google+, so I never missed a beat as far as that concerned. But what did happen for me was, speaking of Google, all the updates, and that had a serious impact on my blog as far as traffic is concerned. And so I had to pick up the slack with my already existing network of people. So, and that's working out great for me. So it's like, okay, Google, you want to do some slapping around with the algorithms? It's okay, because I got people.
What's the one thing that was the biggest change for you, good, bad, or ugly, on the updates?
Oh, well,
for Google.
Actually, just in terms of social, the biggest change for me is Pinterest. Getting tons and tons of traffic that's really targeted from Pinterest, instead of a lot of, I don't want to say useless traffic from Google, but traffic that wasn't really so much targeted. Like, people were searching for stuff that, you know, my blog may have been showing up for, but that's not really what the post was about.
Right.
So people, you know.
Yeah, that one needs no introduction whatsoever. Randy Hilarski says, Eileen Smith, woohoo! He is one of our favorites.
Randy!
Yes,
hey, Randy.
brother Randy. And Sister Annabelle, exactly. He says it's time to
Hey, Annabelle.
Yep, shit, love her. Time to get your learn on. Joan Korber, she's the gal that was commenting that said about speaking Chinese. She wasn't sure what blog posts are, but she's here, so I appreciate that Joan is here today. So, yes, and then do you guys have anybody you want to shout out today that's one of your favorites that's in the audience, you think?
Yeah, the whole of G+.
The entire audience.
Pretty much all of my circlers who think I have something worth saying.
I think my buddy Wade Harmon may be in the house.
I think he is probably in his house, yes.
Yeah, and I also definitely want to shout out to my daughter, Nikki Purvey. Hey, baby.
Girlfriend actually pinged me on Twitter yesterday, so hey to you again, girl, because she is so sweet. So she did reach out to us too. So yeah, I'm trying to think else. Christine, I'm sure DeGraff, my partner in crime, is probably out there too. So hey to her. I think David Oldenburg is out there too. But I think you guys may be right. I think it's everybody in the Google Plus world. So
that's right.
Y'all better serve it up.
Well, what's funny is my family, I don't let them on Google Plus. Shh.
Oh.
You got something to hide.
I'm hiding from them right now.
Right. And you said you're hiding in the basement too. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Hey, here's another one of our favorites too. Brethren Shannon Hernandez. Woohoo! Great to see all four of my favorites, especially that Eileen Smith. I love that.
I love you.
That he is awesome. So, all right, guys, listen. Let's jump into it. I want to just let's recap 2013. And one of my questions was, what's the biggest change for each of you in the last year? And you all jump in. I want to hear from each one of you.
Oh wow. Oh, where can you start from? For a start, G Plus took off in terms of we never expected to see the connectivity we actually do, and the conversation really took off in a way that in 2012 it hadn't, and everything changed because the moment we start talking and exchanging ideas, then it becomes a platform for new ideas and new thoughts, and everything accelerates, and it continues to accelerate. So it's been a really roller coaster ride. It's just been incredible.
It's a jetpack ride for sure. I feel like we just hit that booster. Exactly. Oh, there it goes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final social media power chat of 2013. I'm your host, Mia Voss of Mia Connect, and I have so much firepower on my panel that I think that things are going to blow up. The interwebs are just going to implode with all the action and fun going on here, guys. So real quick before we get started, I want to thank my show sponsors, Edge Ad Exchange and the Craft Star. Think big, shop small with those guys. So thank you as my final sponsors of the year. And I'm going to jump into it. I got to get my sound effects up because you guys know I love this. I have the most amazing set of peeps here. I'm going to start with my girl, Eileen Smith. Welcome to the show.
Hi, everybody.
Basic blog tips, Eileen Speaks. She's got it all going on. I can't even go through all the list, but we're going to get into it. Mr. Dustin Stout, what's up, brother?
How are you?
Who literally just came skating in from a grocery run. I love that about you. You took care of business before you got on the show. I'm going to go to Craig Chamberlain. What's up?
What's up?
Where are you out of, by the way, Craig? You're
Where am I
out of the
at?
Midwest. Yeah, you're in the Midwest, right?
Northern Indiana, which we actually have a wonderful day of 20 degrees today.
I think we might have you beat here in Denver. We got snow last night. It's freezing. Eileen, you're out of Philly. Is that correct?
That's right.
And Dustin, are you in California?
Yeah, I'm sweating it out in Southern California. It's about 70 degrees right now.
Dude, these are uptown problems.
Poor guy.
Exactly. And last but not least, coming the farthest, we have David Amerland.
Hi, guys.
And you're in the UK, is that correct?
Normally, yeah, but I'm actually in Greece at the moment. I've got a summer house there. And,
speaking of uptown problems, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, and the temperature was 31 degrees centigrade this morning.
What's that in the U.S. world?
Probably about high 90s, I think.
Oh, okay, he's got SB, you guys.
Yep.
Right?
And David, you have how many people staying in your house right now for the holidays?
14, would you believe, yeah.
Oh,
I told them his holidays are like the clown car.
Yeah, we all have to squeeze in.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, speaking of which, okay, we're going to get into some comments here. We have Charlotte Pierce. David Amler needs his lower third. No, wait a minute. I guess he doesn't. I love that. And Mia Voss needs her lower third, too.
We're bouncing, whereas when you're getting traffic from a place like Pinterest, it's real targeted. You know, people kind of know what it is they're in for once they click through.
Pinterest has moved out of the sewing circle in the recipe world, hasn't it?
It sure has.
How about you, Craig Chamberlain? What was the biggest change for you in 2013 besides just being awesome like everybody else?
Mine is similar to David and Eileen's. It's mostly the migration of Google+. I used Google+ at the beginning of the year to start a talk show, but Hangouts were horrible at the time. They only broadcasted in 360p, I believe.
Right.
And it was a nightmare just getting the broadcast to function properly. And so the transition from that tool system to what it is now is just absolutely astounding. It's a huge testament to what Google's going to be pushing in the future. Hangouts are going to be a big player in social media, and it's here to stay. They wouldn't have invested that much resources and that much time into it if they didn't think so. But when I restarted my show a couple months ago, it's my morning show. I do it every morning because it's the only time I can with the kids. It was just phenomenal what I was able to do with such a small budget and a few ideas. And that's kind of what I think is a really awesome thing when it comes to Google+. It makes you able to connect with real people in a non-drive-by sense, which has always been, I've been in social media since it started. It's always been a problem with social media is really connecting with people in a different way. And Hangouts is one of those few tools that actually has come to the forefront that makes that possible. Like me sitting here with you and meeting David and just talking to all these people. It's awesome to be able to meet people and communicate with them on a completely different level than you ever did before.
I wish we could have a map dot across especially for today. You know, just right up there at the top. It's got dots of all of us all over the place and what our coverage was, and how easy it is, right? I mean, look at that, just to pull people in. And I agree with you, though. I'd say, yeah, in the last year since I started my show, it's pretty stellar, and a lot of changes that have made it a lot easier to produce them in quality. I'm not saying everybody does, but it gives you an opportunity, right?
yeah, and as much as everybody hated the YouTube comment merger, which I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about later.
Please do. That was a crap show.
It's still in its infant stages, but I disagree with some of their approach to it. But I think in the long run, it's really going to pan out positively for everybody who's sitting here and involved in Google Plus right now. You're going to be very pleasantly surprised in the next 6 months to a year, I think.
I think so too, and that was our first prediction on the show, by the way. So boom,
Good.
Coming at you.
Good.
Hey, Dustin, stop. How about you, brother man? Because I have a comment here that somebody wants to know. Hold on a second, and I'll have to pull it up. They want to know when you're gonna It's Charlotte Pierce. I was gonna bring this up, but it's up already. Hey, when is Dustin gonna have that face swap with that anti G plus guy? It was that again. We all know who that was, and I got to tell you, I am that crap crazy for Gary Vaynerchuk, but I'm pretty excited about that. I want you guys to dress in sumo suits when it happens.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying, with the fake hair and the whole thing. I think that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I'm all for it, and I'll be the first to say I've got a man crush on Gary Vaynerchuk.
Right.
So there's no hostility there.
Yeah.
But I'm still waiting to hear back from him. I haven't heard back. Everybody knows that he saw those notifications that got sent his way, some 300 notifications that I could count, sent his way to answer, to see if he would mind chatting with me online. And I'm working on some things to get his attention. He's got some ways that people can reach out to him for buying large quantities of his book, and so who knows? I might just up and buy 60 books and get 10 minutes of his time.
Lynn Abate Johnson, by the way, I want to give her a shout. She actually was at the book signing, I think in Portland, and I do have a signed copy of the Right Hook, Jab, Jab, Jab.
Jab, jab, right hook.
Yeah, Jab, Jab, Right Hook. Got a little backwards. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Always been a big fan of his. He was here for a book sign in Denver, and I think he probably almost was ready to call the security because I was nerding out so hardcore in the front row, just because I do love him. But I would be interested to see how that would go. It does surprise me. I mean, I know we've all drank the Google Plus Kool-Aid, but it does surprise me that he's so vehement about it. So but with that,
surprising is his thoughts on Snapchat, which I'm completely against, and he's an insightful guy. So I just want to square up with him toe to toe and get his perspective and